Most people trying to build muscle and lose fat at the same time are getting neither, and they have absolutely no idea why. You've probably seen it everywhere: social media, YouTube, fitness content being pushed as the most efficient way to build muscle and get lean. And on paper, it sounds almost too good to be true. But if you've been trying to do this and nothing's really changed, not your physique, not your strength, that's not by accident. It's because trying to build muscle and lose fat at the same time is a flawed approach that keeps most people stuck for months and sometimes even years. If you're new here, I'm Steven. I'm a physiotherapist and lifetime natural lifter and someone who's been training for over 25 years. In this video, I'm going to show you why trying to build muscle and lose fat at the same time is keeping you stuck and what you should be doing instead. Let's start by answering the question directly. Can you actually build muscle and lose fat at the same time? This is what people often refer to as body recomposition or body recomp. And while yes, it is technically possible, how much it actually happens depends almost entirely on two critical factors. The first is your current body fat percentage. Body fat is stored energy. The more of it you're carrying, the more energy your body has to support muscle growth while in a calorie deficit. If you're significantly overweight, building muscle and losing fat at the same time becomes more realistic. But as you get leaner, those energy reserves become far more limited and your body is less willing to support muscle growth while in a calorie deficit. The second factor is your training experience. If you've never trained before, training is a completely new stimulus for you. Your body will react strongly and muscle growth will happen even while you're in a calorie deficit. Newbie gains are a real thing, but unfortunately, they don't last forever. The more years of consistent training that you have under your belt, the harder it becomes to build muscle under any conditions, let alone while trying to lose body fat. So the people with the best chances are beginners holding on to excess body fat, and the worst are experienced lean lifters, and everyone else falls somewhere in between. And yes, genetic outliers do exist. And yes, people using PEDs operate by completely different rules, but neither of those is worth comparing yourself to, and the second one is not a road you want to go down. So in summary, if you've been training consistently for at least a few years and you're already fairly lean, which is probably most of you watching this video right now, trying to build muscle and lose fat at the same time is not a realistic goal you should be aiming for, and chasing it is costing you more progress than you realize. Here's what actually happens when most people try to build muscle and lose fat at the same time. They eat at near maintenance calories, they continue to train hard, and they actually expect their body to change from that. But from a physiological standpoint, there's a real problem here. Your body reacts to clear signals. A calorie surplus says build, a calorie deficit says lose, and maintenance says do neither. And that's exactly what happens in the majority of cases. The only people that truly come close are those that are significantly overweight and new to training. And everyone else trying to do both is following a plan. It's just a plan that's keeping them stuck. They stay in between phases, not in a real calorie surplus and not in a real calorie deficit, just right in the middle, without enough direction to push anything forward. The scale doesn't move much, the mirror doesn't change all that much, and your strength in the gym barely moves either. And months go by with very little to show for it. And this is where people start to lose motivation. This is what I like to call maintenance limbo, and I've seen people get stuck here for years. The bottom line is this: there's no program designed to build muscle and lose fat at the same time that reliably delivers on that promise. And if anyone tells you otherwise, you should be very skeptical. At best, it's something that just happens and not something you should build a plan around. So if it doesn't really work, why does everyone chase it? It's because on paper, it seems like the perfect solution. Build muscle and lose fat at the same time with no real trade-offs and no clear downside. That's an easy answer and a quick fix being pushed by social media, fitness content, and people trying to sell the promise of impossible results for the right price. But the truth is this: real progress doesn't work that way. It takes time, it takes consistency, and it requires a structured approach. A surplus when your goal is to build, a deficit when your goal is to lose, and the discipline to stay in each phase long enough to actually see results. This usually means months and not weeks. That's not flashy, it's not exciting, and it's not what people want to hear, but that's how real progress is made. Once you accept that reality, the solution becomes very straightforward. You need to commit to one direction at a time, depending on what is most important to you. If your goal is to build muscle, that means being in a clear surplus, keeping your protein high, training hard, and staying there long enough to actually see results. And yes, you're gonna put on a little bit of fat, and that's just part of the process. But the reality is, if you keep these principles in place, that fat is minimized. If your goal is to lose fat, that means shifting into a real calorie deficit where those same nutrition and training principles apply so you can hold on to that muscle that you've built while you lose fat. And yes, you might lose a small amount of muscle, but if those principles are in place, that's minimized. From there, you just move between these phases throughout the year based on your current physique and your training goal. Maintenance only has a role if you're truly happy with where you are, or as a brief transition in between phases, or if you've been cutting for a prolonged period of time, just as a diet break. This is about accepting the trade-offs, managing them properly, and not trying to avoid them completely. Unfortunately, there are no shortcuts. That's the process. It's simple, but it's what actually works in the real world. If you want to go deeper on how to lose fat while preserving your hard-earned muscle and how to lean bulk properly, you'll see those videos over here. And if this video challenged something you've been doing for a while without getting great results, that's a good thing. Commit to one direction, give it time to actually work, and let me know in the comments below how it goes. Thanks for watching.